Welcome to Narrations with Theo Dayo. Yes, that's how it's pronounced. Today I'm gonna read a short story made by my friend Lynn. It's a love story actually, but it has a mysterious green man and a pop star in one sentence. I won't spoil who it is, but that shit's illegal. It should not have been fair. This story should not exist. Therefore, I am truly scared to read it. Well, here goes. This is a place where I don't feel alone. Far away, hidden from the misconduct of a modern society, was a place so serene, a place so tranquil, hardly even the birds dared to chirp. The sunlight shone onto this scenery as though the atoms of the sun collided for that very purpose, to set light upon the wetland amidst the forest trees, glimmering at the dusk of dawn. Something about that place seemed otherworldly, occult, magical even. The light of day shone through the rustling leaves ceaselessly, for days were never to end. This is a place where I feel at home. Had somebody told him of the Morse's existence, about the bloom that floated so nonchalantly over what once seemed to be clear waters, he would not have cared to believe. So often had he sung of a mystery at sea, where little Susie's body was buried. It was almost magnetic, he thought, for there was a captivating connection between man and the allurement of the waters. The soul of a singer was doomed to get lost one way or another amidst the chanting of admirers, the flashlights that seemed to appear with every blink of an eye, the endless policies and the endless gold. It was on an August noon when he found himself lost, far away from what life used to be, the life as a king of pop. He was tired, and the exhaustion ached so deeply in his bones, dragging himself over the fallen leaves of a tranquil forest. Neither did he know where he was, nor did he fathom where his feet were dragging him to. His mind seemed clearer than the chilling forest air, but within the enchantment of the scenery he found himself in, he could not have possibly cared any less. Not when his eyes glistered upon a view almost theatrical, the view of the very place in which he would fall in love. Lost in the trail of thought, forming in his mind like a thin trace of fog, Michael barely realized how his hands pushed away the thick leaves that kept him from entering it. The swamp. Even more so, he barely realized the melodies he has been chanting on his way, and as much as he has been wanting to get away from his life as a singer. Oh, he could only think of his songs he could compose about this very place. He shouldn't have, quite frankly. The Jackson should have remained in silence. His heart nearly dropped when footsteps echoed behind him, followed by what seemed to be the slam of a wooden door. He was frozen in place, and as much as his brain screamed at him to run, to hide, as badly as his limbs burnt with the rush of adrenaline, he was frozen in place for what, the first time in his life, he was unable to just beat. Sorry, wait a bit. He was unable to just beat it. The footsteps were followed by what he believed to be a crunching noise, almost as though somebody were to be eating. But whilst Michael adored the scenery of a swamp, he could not help himself from wondering how on earth could anybody think of eating in a place that reeked of mud, soil, and onions. He should have been more cautious. Oh, he should have been more cautious. The grip that indulged him from behind was bone-crushing, and the hand that clasped around his lips made his voice shrink into a lump at the back of his throat. Through panic-hazed eyes, all he could grasp was how large those hands were, and how green they were. It must have been a dream turning into a nightmare. He couldn't have been awake. This was all but reality. What the hell are you doing, my swamp? In his 42 years of age, Michael Jackson has never heard so enchanting. He has grown up in the music industry, and he believed to have heard all kinds of voices. But the resonance of his voice made him forget about the bone-crushing hold, forget about the strong reek of onions that penetrated his nostrils, like the onion that fell from the green creature's hand onto the leaves that lay so carelessly on the mud. His heart dropped as well. The creature must have felt it through the pulsating of his body, either that or the way his figure was frozen in place, for he felt how the grip slowly loosened until he could breathe again. Michael Jackson? With eyes, the musician dared to turn around as his name was voiced. There was no way. It was far from reality. It must have been a dream, but dear God, it felt so real. And when his gaze met with the one of a foreign creature, he wished for nothing but for this dream to never end. Who are you? What are you? He whispered, barely audible enough to resonate over the stream of the swamp. I'm Shrek, but if you want me to, you could call me Daddy. Shrek, so that was his name, although Michael could feel the heat in his cheeks at the latter words. He chose not to give them too much thought. In spite of the tingling of his skin, his hands carefully rested on the mudded shirt Shrek was wearing. Dark eyes, never breaking the gaze. Never in his life had he seen something somehow so beautiful, so loving, so gentle. Shrek, Daddy, is this a dream? And with one brush of those vast fingers against his lips, Michael realized it wasn't, rather, it was a dream come true. Dreams are only dreams if we want them to be such. Now, why don't you let me just beat it in the hut? The end. Okay. Take a breather, because okay, I don't what the fuck did I just read? Shrek and Michael Jackson. Lynn, please. I'm going mad.